Hello everyone, my name is Sebastian from Learn with SOS. Today I'm glad to walk you through logic and critical thinking. In this video, we are going to talk about validity of an argument. When do we say an argument is valid? But before we get started, please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe for more wonderful contents like this, and also for the YouTube algorithm to recommend this video to a lot of people around the world. Alright, so let's begin with today's lesson. Now let's quickly recap what an argument is. Let's quickly go through. We cannot just understand the validity of an argument without knowing what an argument really is. So our first question is, what is an argument? In critical thinking, an argument is a group of statements in which there are premises that constitute a reason for believing the truth of a claim. Or an argument is a group of statements that attempts to prove something is the case by appealing to reasons. So in simple terms, when you talk about arguments in critical thinking, not in literal meaning, argument where two people are exchanging words in a fight, no. An argument simply means I want you to believe something and I give you reasons for you to believe in, basically. So from the definition, you can see that an argument are a group of statements that appeal to reason. The reason helps prove what the argument really is. Now, for a definition, you can see that argument has two parts. So this is the framework of an argument. We have the premise or the reason and the conclusion, the claim. So don't forget, these are the two parts of an argument. So every argument, you will see a premise or the reason or the reasons and the conclusion known as the claim. Now let's quickly look at what these two parts, the role they play in an argument. So let's talk about the premise. The premise is or are the reasons given to support the conclusion or the claim. So the premise or the premises support the conclusion. Now the claim or the conclusion is what the premise supports, what the arguer wants you to believe. So these are the part of an argument and the role each plays. The premise are the reasons giving support the conclusion, and the claim or the conclusion is what the premise supports or the main thing the arguer wants you to believe or accept. So now let's have a look at an argument and see if you can identify the premise and the claim, and let's see if the premises are supporting the conclusion and also the conclusion are being supported by the premise. So now, our first statement: all pregnant women lie prostrate. Prostrate means they lie on their back. Because of their belly, they can't lie facing down. So all pregnant women lie prostrate. Victoria is a pregnant woman. Victoria lies prostrate. So now, the claim is the last statement. Victoria lies prostrate. That is what I want you to accept or believe in or take. Now, why am I saying Victoria lies prostrate? I've given you two reasons or two premises. Now, the first premise is that, or the first reason is that I said that all pregnant women lie prostrate. All the pregnant women in the world, they lie prostrate. And Victoria is a pregnant woman. So automatically, Victoria will lie prostrate. This is an epitome of an argument. So you can see the premises are really supporting the conclusion. So without the first two statements, we can never believe that Victoria lies prostrate. You can give you an example of an argument in the description box below. Okay, now let's come back to the main theme of today's video. Validity of an argument. When do we say an argument is valid? What do we mean by that? So now, validity of an argument refers to the relationship, that's the key word, the relationship between the premise and the conclusion. At this juncture, we know what the premise is and we know what the conclusion is. So, with validity of an argument, we are looking at how the premise and the conclusion relate, how they support each other. This can be likened to our human relationships. We say some people are friends, some are best friends, some are acquaintances, some are lovers. How do we give names, or how are we able to give names to all these forms of relationships? Because we're looking at how the two people involved, or the actors involved, were behaving. So you look at how two people are behaving, you say, oh, they are siblings, oh, they are lovers, these ones, they are just mere acquaintances. So likewise, there is a relationship between a premise and a conclusion in an argument. So the extent to which the premise supports the conclusion is what we are talking about here. That is the validity. So in a valid argument, the truth of the premise guarantees the truth of the conclusion. So it is impossible for the premise to be true and the conclusion false. So you can see that in a valid argument, the premises fully support the conclusion. So there is that strong connection between the premise and the conclusion. So the moment you look at the premise, you can automatically even close your eyes and predict or say the conclusion. That is what we mean by validity. There is a strong connection or relationship. You can move freely from the premise to the conclusion. And the moment you conclude, it is unequivocal. You can't argue against the conclusion because it follows directly from the premise or premises. That is what we call validity of an argument, how the premise fully supports the conclusion. So now let's take note. This is very, very important. That's why I'm stressing on it. Validity is not about the truth of the claim, but rather the logical relationship between the premise and conclusion. Some students think that validity is about the claim should be true in real life. No, we are not talking about reality here. If you talk about reality here, you're going to confuse yourself. In critical thinking, we need to think outside the box. We need to think beyond reality. We are looking at the logical flow, the relationship, whether it's real in real life or it is fiction. The moment it follows that logical relationship, validity is seen there. So now we are going to have a look at some arguments and determine whether or not they are valid or not valid. So I'll be very glad if at this juncture you will pause and look at the argument very well and determine whether it is valid or not valid, and you should be able to give cogent or tangible reasons why you are saying the argument is valid or not valid. Good. Let's begin with our first example. Example 1. All Nigerians speak English. Victoria is a Nigerian. Victoria speaks English. Now, the claim is the last statement. Victoria speaks English. Does it follow directly from the premises? Does the premises makes the statement Victoria speaks English true? It is a big yes. Because now look at the first statement. All Nigerians speak English. And Victoria is a Nigerian. So automatically, Victoria will speak English. This is a valid argument because the premises support the conclusion. The premises guarantees the truth of the conclusion. So you can see that logical relationship because no one can stand up and say no, Victoria doesn't speak English, because the first two statements, known as the premises, makes the last statement true or unequivocal. We move to the second argument. All Nigerians speak English. Victoria speaks English. Victoria is a Nigerian. I can see you've frowned your face like, yeah, if something is going on in your mind, then you're on the right side. So you can see Victoria is a Nigerian is a claim in the second argument. But the second premise that Victoria speaks English doesn't make the last statement that Victoria is a Nigerian true. Because the first statement says that all Nigerians speak English. We understand. But the second reason, Victoria speaks English doesn't make Victoria a Nigerian. So you can see in the second argument, the last statement, the claim, doesn't follow from the premise. It doesn't follow. So the relationship is weak. It doesn't really support. So this argument is not valid because Victoria speaking English can be a Ghanaian or can come from the UK, anywhere that speak English. So I hope you know. So you see, the two arguments here are almost the same. I just changed the position of one of the premises, and that changed it from being valid toward invalid. Let's take note of that. Okay, let's look at our third argument. All snakes are friendly. Vanessa is friendly. Vanessa is a snake. I can see you are laughing. Please, if you are Vanessa, please don't beat me. I'm just using it for an example. But Vanessa's too, they look like snakes anyway. So now, all snakes are friendly. Vanessa is friendly. Does that make Vanessa a snake? It's a big no, you are right. So this argument is not valid because Vanessa is a snake. Is the premises doesn't support the argument very well. The fact that Vanessa is friendly doesn't make Vanessa a snake. No. So all snakes can be friendly, but outside the species of snakes, there can be other, animals, even higher animals that are friendly. Vanessa can be a human being that is friendly. And I know Vanessa is friendly. So you see, this argument is not valid because the claim Vanessa is a snake doesn't follow directly from the premises. Let's move to our fourth argument. The same argument, but I have just opposed or I've interchanged the position of the premises. Let's see. All snakes are friendly. Vanessa is a snake. So automatically, Vanessa is what? Friendly. Because all snakes are friendly and Vanessa happens to be a snake. So she is in the snake family. So automatically, Vanessa is what? Friendly. This is an epitome of a valid argument because, sorry, the premises guarantees the conclusion. Sorry, the premises fully supports the conclusion. No one can argue that Vanessa is friendly given these two premises. All snakes are friendly. Vanessa is a snake. Even Satan will agree that Vanessa is friendly in the presence of these two, premises. So that is how we are able to determine what argument is valid and what argument is not valid. Okay, so let's move on to our next argument. Elephants are big. Bingo is an elephant. Bingo is big. I hope for now you can easily tell whether it's valid or not valid with ease. I can feel it. Yeah. Elephants are big. Bingo is an elephant. Then bingo is big. Yeah, it's valid because the claim that bingo is big follows directly from the two premises. Elephants are big and bingo happens to be an elephant. So automatically bingo is big. Good. The next argument. All tables have teeth. Panda has teeth. Panda is a table. Please, before you decide whether this argument is valid or not valid, forget about reality. In reality, it doesn't make sense, but like I said early on, we are not looking at the reality, like how the premises should be true in real life. No, we just want to see the connection, how the premises makes the conclusion through. So now let's take the argument again. All tables have what? Feet. Panda has feet. Panda is a table. Is it valid or invalid? Take your time and analyze it very well. All tables in the world, including Ghana, Nigeria, Jamaica, all the tables, they have teeth. I mean, they can bite you. And panda has teeth. So ask yourself, does panda having teeth makes it a table? It's a no. So though panda has teeth, but it doesn't make panda a table. Because Victoria is my friend in Nigeria. She requested this video. So I dedicate this video to Victoria. Victoria too has teeth, but Victoria is not a table. She is a human. So you see, so this argument is not valid. However, if you bring the claim to the place of the second premise and you bring the second premise at the conclusion, it becomes a valid argument. So the same argument, you can manipulate around it for it to become valid and what's not valid. So now we move to our next argument. Mothers are good cooks. Karen is a good cook. Karen is a mother. This argument is not valid because fine, mothers are good cooks in the first premise, but Karen being a good cook doesn't make Karen a mother. Yes, Karen can be anyone at all. It can be just a primary six girl who knows how to cook. She can be single. So Karen is not a mother in the presence of these premises. So this argument is not valid because Karen is a mother doesn't follow directly from the two premises. The next argument. Philip is taller than Ruben. Ruben is taller than Agnes. Then Philip is taller than Agnes. Is this argument valid or not valid? Take your time. It is a valid argument because one, we are comparing three persons here. Philip is taller than Ruben. So if Ruben is also taller than Agnes, then automatically Philip is taller than Agnes. So this is a valid argument because the premises support the conclusion. No one can argue that Philip is taller than Agnes. No one can argue against that because if Philip is taller than Ruben and Ruben is also taller than Agnes, then Philip is taller than Agnes, which makes sense. So that is a valid argument. So you see, validity of an argument, you look at the support the premises give, how the premises guarantee the conclusion. So I am convinced beyond doubt that from today forward, you will be able to distinguish between a valid argument from a non-valid one. So here is an assignment for you. Determine whether or not the following arguments are valid. All blacks are blue. All blues are white. All blacks are white. And all men cheat. Excluding me, I'm not part. Frank cheats. Frank is a man. So you can send me your feedback in the description box and I'll be glad to respond to your comment. So determine whether these two arguments, are they all valid, one valid, one invalid, or they are all invalid. So let me know. So it's been wonderful having this lesson with you, and as you know, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So till then, see you for another lesson, and see you when I see you. Bye bye.